Fox Soul. Challengers Quan LX and Big Angry Adams. Ready to go blow by blow on those hot topics. Face Off on Fox Soul starts right now.
So Christian Black, a 25-year-old man who died while in Montgomery County Jail custody.
Earlier today, the attorney representing his family showed the video capturing moments leading up to his death, which has been ruled a homicide by the Montgomery County coroner. 2 News reporter Kajasia Hawkins continues our coverage. She was at that news conference and shares the family's response to the video.
Yeah, Brooke and Jack, this footage just released today may be disturbing for some viewers. It brought the family of Christian Black to tears as they continue to demand justice for his death.
Now every time I see the video, it's knowing that I'm gonna see him take his life again.
The family of Christian Black and the attorneys representing the case at Wright and Schulte say the disturbing video of the incident shows exactly how Christian died of positional asphyxia.
They chose to treat Christian inhumanely because they didn't value him as a human being. Well, we're here today to let you know that he was somebody. He was valued. You see his family here.
The video starts with Christian Black ramming into walls and doors inside of one of the holding cells. Then you see around 9 Montgomery County Sheriff's deputies rush inside the cell to subdue him. In a matter of minutes, deputies swarm him, tasing and pepper spraying him. Deputies then put Black into a restraint chair and place a spit mask on his head. This is when attorney Michael Wright says that the deputies positioned Black so that he eventually suffocated, leading to his death. For the rest of the video, Black is seemingly unresponsive. Nearly 10 minutes after first being restrained, a nurse takes his blood pressure, and then another medical professional begins to administer CPR. But attorney Michael Wright says that at that point, Christian Black was already dead and deputies failed to act fast. He says that they are now seeking legal action for negligence.
As it relates to how they are handling inmates within this county jail. So we are planning on initiating a lawsuit.
In this round, here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
You know, Quanell, this is another example of the way things are framed to completely absolve one person of any actions that contributed to the death and condemn public servants for doing their jobs. I am sure you will disagree, but you look at the headline, man's death. That was the in Dayton, Ohio NBC affiliate that we took that clip from. Man's death caused by gang-type response at Montgomery County Jail. And it's that kind of inflammatory description that we're seeing all across the media space that clearly ignores what was going on. They showed a little clip of one, half-hearted effort to ram his head into the wall, but the truth is that this man was banging his head into the wall over and over and over again and ignoring instructions to stop, right? He was causing it for a very long time and causing tremendous injury to himself. He was damaging himself.
To himself.
And what the cops could have done is they could have just said, stay in there and continue hurting yourself until you kill yourself. And that, of course, would have been their fault, right? They've got an affirmative obligation to act to protect this man from harming himself. Now, when they went in there, there was no cessation of his actions, right? There was still craziness, and they had to restrain him. They put him in a restraint chair. They actually did everything they were supposed to do. And when they saw that he was having a problem, they immediately got medical staff. But because this family, and here's the problem. People don't just all of a sudden start ramming their head into walls and going crazy on cops. There is a lifetime of behavioral issues that clearly someone ignored, that got to this point where he was completely out of his mind, trying to do himself great damage, and police, at risk of harming themselves, entered that. It wasn't a gang type response. It was a sufficient response designed to allow them to restrain him without risking harm to the officers or the deputies, the jailers. And then they followed policy. They put him in a restraint chair. They had to put a mask on him because he was spitting on people. This is sad that he died, but this was all downstream from his behaviors. No, because it's disgusting that we're calling them gang-type murderers, calling for them to spend life in prison. It's absolutely obscene.
It is absolutely a fact that there was some type of, I believe, mental health crisis taking place with that young man in that jail cell. And you could tell the way he was ramming his head back and forth that he was having some type of psychosis breakdown. That's one. But they could have easily, before they went in, there's a chute on that thing to where you pass them their tray. They could have easily put tear gas in there to where, kept it shut, let the tear gas take effect.
They used pepper spray.
No.
But they did.
Put it in there. Don't put no officers' lives in danger. Don't get into a confrontation with him. Tear gas it. Let it subdue him for a second. Then go in behind him. Use the tasers and then handcuff him and put him in a restraint chair.
Well, that's
not what
exactly
they did. No, what they did,
exactly
they opened the cell door. We all watched this video. Anybody blind?
No, they didn't put in.
We all watched this video.
There. You can't do that in a
They
jail.
ran. They opened the door and ran in on him like a bunch of damn gang members.
Right, to hold him down.
All they had to do was put the tear gas in there, let it subdue him for a while, open it up, and then tase him and subdue him. Secondly, you sat there and said, oh, they follow all the policies and procedures. Well, they restrained him inappropriately. No. That's why he's dead.
No, he's dead because he was out of control.
Strangulation.
No, he was dead.
He's dead because of an inappropriate restraint method that resulted in strangulation, asphyxiation, and the man is classified as a homicide death now. Charles, when you look at that video, they could have done a whole lot more better. A lot better. You mean tell me just opening up the door and all y'all running in at the same time is proper restraint methods?
Yes. In fact,
get out of here, Charles.
Trying to overwhelm him.
That's old school restraint methods of the 90s.
Absolutely not.
Not those who have been thoroughly trained today.
It is very easy, from the outside to look in and say, oh, these evil public servants did this evil thing. No, this crazy guy doing crazy stuff.
I'm not saying they're evil, but they damn sure stupid.
Okay, no, they're neither, right? First of all, you can't spray pepper spray through a hole in a door.
I didn't say that. I said tear gas.
The same thing.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
They tear gas inmates all the time. That's not true.
Okay, it gets in the ventilation systems. It gets to the other people. It is a problem.
Oh my God,
right?
Charles,
now,
come
what
on,
they probably shot was pepper foam, which is a little more tacky and sticks and doesn't go. But he absolutely had to go in there and pin him down and hold him, but that's not what killed him, right? What killed him was a positional asphyxiation
and
on the
improper
restraint chair. But no, not necessarily improper. What crazy people
did those guys look like some well-trained men to you?
They did.
Hell no, they did not.
You can be restrained and lean into the restraint and move yourself, flail around till you actually choke yourself to death. This man was worked up. He most certainly caused himself grievous bodily injury by banging his head and everything.
But that's not what he died from.
You can get so worked up.
He died from suffocation.
You can get so worked up that you can lose your ability to breathe and die. You can also have positional
my God!
asphyxiation.
Now you want to say that he was so hyped, he choked himself to death because he was so hyped.
It's actually a real thing.
Come on, stop this,
You can also
Charles.
get positional asphyxiation. It's more common when somebody is hog-tied, or like when George Floyd, when the compression was on his upper back.
You saw them all over this man.
But he didn't die from that. He died when he was in the chair. Right?
No. He was, before they rendered CPR to him, he was already dead in that chair.
Right,
in fact, in the video, it said that you no longer see any more movement once they put him in the chair. It says once he got in the chair, you no longer saw any more movement. He was dead when they placed him in the chair.
This was a man causing himself great harm, exposing
That's obvious.
The officers
but the
to
restraint
great harm.
methods and the approach and subduing him was improper.
And when a crazy guy manages to kill himself, when he's putting every effort into killing himself, it is ridiculous to go on media and cry and say, I want millions of dollars and people to go to prison.
In that jail that warranted them running in like that?
Okay.
He was a threat only to himself. He was a threat only to himself.
So if
he knocked himself out from hitting his head against the glass, that's on him.
Are we going to pretend that if they just sat back and watched him banging his head into the wall over and over again and did not intercede, that we wouldn't have a very similar press conference with the same lawyers saying, oh, these officers just stood there and watched while he killed himself. They've got this obligation to intercede, these horrible officers.
Let me ask you a question.
The police can't win.
Let me ask you a question. So why is it they did not get shields? They get the little armored shields.
Again, it's very easy
and
to
run in one second.
Monday morning
1 second. No,
this.
I've watched these restraints. They go in with the shields, pin him against the wall, okay, or pin him down with the shields. All right. Then when you pin him down, you can tase him there. You can handcuff him, restrain him properly there. Charles, they ran in with no protective gear, They ran in with no shields, and they just, like dudes on the corner, bum rushed him.
No. What they did.
That's wrong, Charles. It's improper.
You're saying you saw it. I've actually done it in the same circumstance, exact same circumstance. Big crazy guy, but in this we had bars back then, and he'd banging his head over and split his skull open, running into the bars. And as soon as we got it open, he came at us, spitting at us, clawing at us, and it was only 4 of us, because I think that was the whole shit. We got him held down, we got the mask over him, and we put him in a, back then we just used a straitjacket, which is not nearly as good as the restraint chair. But we had to hold him down and do all that because we couldn't just watch him kill himself.
But there have been improvements in technology
right, the restraint chair,
and methodology.
Which they used.
Charles, why did not they go in with some shields? Okay. They could have tear gassed him first.
How do you know they had shields?
They didn't have them.
I'm saying, how do you know they had any available?
Why would you not have those?
There's plenty of it.
Because you have to restrain inmates sometimes, Charles.
Okay.
And guess what the shields do? It protects officers from injury, and it protects
the
inmate. Protects the inmate also from injury.
I don't think
Charles,
you should go in there with anything.
They could have pinned him with the
shield.
They could have pinned him with the shields, taser him, and made it a lot easier, Charles.
Okay.
They just ran in with freehand and just run in and bum rush the man.
In the lawyer's mind's eye, in the family's mind, in your mind's eye, you all believe that this guy who was repeatedly slamming his head over and over and over and against the wall and fighting everybody, that he bears no responsibility.
I believe he did contribute to what happened to him.
Okay.
He did contribute.
But you want these officers to be
play a role.
Convicted of murder
Let me
and
say
go to
this.
prison.
He did play a role in what was the eventual outcome. Yes, he did. But Charles, what I'm saying is this: that restraint method that they used and how they went about doing it was improper. In 2025, with the technology that we have out here today, with the new methods and training that they have out today, Charles, that was really an old school pathetic method that they used. That was not sufficient and resulted in a man's death.
And what I'm saying to you is, if that was a white guy doing it to himself, you would be talking about what an idiot he is right now. And
I'll be saying the same thing. It was improper.
You never do.
That the restraint was improper. That's not true.
Folks, especially our new viewers out in California, go back and watch the shows. They're all on Fox Soul. If you look at it, right, and you look at all the media talking about this gang-type response and blaming these officers, you're forced with a choice, right? Well, you can just watch and let somebody kill themselves, beating themselves to death, or you can intercede. And they interceded, they did it the right way, and now, because this idiot killed himself, that they're looking, they're probably all going to get indicted.
They run in with no helmets.
And what a point.
They run in no helmets,
public servants
no
saying,
shields,
hey,
no protective gear.
Okay.
The cops run in with no shields, no helmets, no protective gear.
Right.
10 or 12 of them.
Right.
You're going to tell me in 2025 that's the proper restraint method of law enforcement in a jail cell?
You don't want them putting
in a confined environment?
You don't
Come
want
on,
to
Charles, stop this.
You don't want him putting a long-term knee restraint on his back.
But guess what? There was no need to do it if they went in with shields.
In fact,
if they went in with shields, don't need to do that, Charles.
That's absolutely not true. They would have had to restrain him. But
Charles,
the thing is,
once you got him in the corner,
shields available.
We watched the video, Charles.
Did you see shields?
Obviously, they didn't have them.
Okay, so they didn't have them.
Or either they chose not to use them.
Okay, well, we don't know the answer to that.
So what if they did have? What if they did have other equipment?
They would have still
to assist them in doing it, and they chose not to use it.
I'll tell you what if. It doesn't matter because they still.
No, they are neglectful. They're negligent.
You ask a question, you don't want to hear the answer.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Here's the thing. The end result would have always been to put him in the restraint chair because that's the standard operating procedure. That's the SOP that they were following. And once he was in the restraint chair, he asphyxiated himself and he died. And that's just what happened.
He was dead when they placed him in the chair.
Was not. I mean, you're just
Ladies and gentlemen,
up.
Go back and watch the video, and you will see he never moved one time while he was in that chair. He was already unconscious and dead when they picked him up off the floor and placed him in the chair. Watch the video, then listen to what his lawyer even said. Even the lawyer said that he was dead once they placed him in that chair.
Oh, you mean
you see no movement? You see no movement at all. No movement at all.
Okay. Yes, I'm not shocked that the lawyer trying to make millions of dollars is saying. But no, the ME's report and all the evidence, including the video, support the fact that he became asphyxiated by being in the chair.
The ME's report says homicide.
Right, because you know what homicide
they
means?
killed him.
You know what homicide means?
Because they killed him.
Is that in that situation, some external thing caused his death.
They are the external thing.
But it doesn't.
The damn deputies, the cops.
The deputies did what they had to do to restrain him. They followed policy, and they said, "Well, we're going to get to a point in America.
That can't be the policy. That can't be the policy that they follow.
We're going to get to a point in America where every bad outcome, especially for a person of color, despite all of his bad behavior, is somehow going to be the public servant's fault, and public servants just aren't going to serve anymore." Right? These men did their job.
That was improper how they went about doing that.
Hey, it's your girl, Carolina Sanchez, and The Nightcap is the late night show where no topic is off limits. Join me as we dive into the wild world of relationships, sex, and everything in between. From hilarious dating disasters to steamy secrets, you know we've got it all. We've got celebrity guests, expert advice, and a cocktail in hand. The Nightcap is your guilty pleasure. So grab your drink and tune in because the best stories start after dark.
The Nightcap. New episodes weeknights at 11 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
Hey, besties!
What is a bestie?
I like you.
She's fun.
It's about to be a good time!
She's always looking out for you.
Since you're my bestie, I will handle it for you.
She makes you think.
Here to uplift and empower.
She's always encouraging.
You are that girl.
Chelsea Edwards, your bestie in daytime.
I get the spiritual moments.
Chatting with Chelsea. New episodes weekdays at 5:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
I was a quarterback at Hardaway High School. College first-round draft pick during the football season, I would stop eating. But I didn't know I was depressed. We didn't have any education behind what mental health was. I started to learn it starts here first. If this is together, I'll be better as a father and as a husband. We have to redefine what being a strong man is and heal, love your mind.
Yes, 13, anything you want to say about Alcatraz?
I don't know if he's watching The Rock or what inspired this.
Welcome to The Rock. The famous movie The Rock, starring Sean Connery, had a plot to take over Alcatraz. Governor Gavin Newsom says a real-life reopening makes no sense.
I mean, you can't even come up with a more colossally bad fiscal idea. Nothing about this makes any sense.
Where did you get the idea for reopening Alcatraz? Just an idea I've had.
President Trump defended his idea to reporters outside the White House.
It's long been a symbol, Alcatraz, of whatever it is. I mean, it's a sad symbol, but it's a symbol of law and order.
In this round, here's Quanell X.
Charles, President Trump has floated the idea of reopening the notorious prison Alcatraz out in the Bay Area in California. And that's the same prison that has held some of the most notorious mobsters and gangsters in American history. Now President Trump says he wants to reopen it for the most ruthless and violent criminals. But I thought we already had those facilities like Pelican Bay, like those other federal penal institutions that held John Gotti and held these terrorists that are locked up in America. So why are we talking about reopening Alcatraz? Is this a stunt? Because, and first thing came to my mind is, how much money is it going to cost to make Alcatraz a prison again that's safe enough to even house prisoners? It just seems like a publicity stunt to me, and it's crazy. But he wants to do it for America's most ruthless and violent criminals. But I was thinking maybe he should make that prison for Fortune 500 crooks. Maybe he should make that prison for insurance company CEOs who use AI to just delete people's requests for life-saving procedures and surgeries. Maybe he should keep that facility open for politicians who know how to sell when they know something is coming down the pipeline because they got insider tips. Maybe he should leave that open for America's biggest tax evaders. But you want to make that for America's violent criminals, but you don't want to do a damn thing about the real crooks in America.
Well, there's a number of reasons it's a bad idea, but you heard the president, he's talking about the symbolism, right? The symbolism of putting these bad people on this island in one of our nation's most affluent, nicest cities. There is a million reasons why this is just silly, late-night Twitter finger nonsense from our current executive. One, Alcatraz is one of the most profitable national parks in this country. It is a huge tourist attraction. I've been a couple of times myself. I think on one of my bookshelves in my home studio, I have a piece of The Rock from Alcatraz. It would just be dumb financially for the city of San Francisco that, because of the homeless epidemic, has been struggling with tourism. Although last year was a banner year, it's been a problem. And he wants to take away one of the city's largest tourist attractions, which is just silly. He's all talking about symbolism, but you're right. We have a supermax prison in Colorado.
Several.
But we have our main one. We have it. This would just be for the showmanship. And that is, we do have a showman president. We have a populist president who has endeared himself to American society by these, I don't want to call them grand gestures, but by gestures like this, right? Like reopening Alcatraz to put the worst of the worst. I don't think it's a good idea, but more importantly, I don't think it's ever going to happen. And when we have a president that had campaigned on austerity and the government spending less money, who has his DOGE unit, allegedly Pam Bondi is our Attorney General, is geared to very soon file charges against even elected officials for the diversion of USAID funds, any government tax dollars away from whatever specific purpose they were allocated to being stuck into people's pants. We're talking billions of dollars.
So
right?
what Trump is going to do, what you're saying, his administration is going to do the same exact things the Democrats did to him when he was running for president.
Well, I think we'll see some responsive lawfare, most certainly.
So now we're going tit for tat now.
Well, definitely. And I do think, that's why executives typically didn't go after other executives. That's why, like with Nixon, they just kind of let him go off into the sunset.
And the Clintons.
Because, the Clinton stuff, a lot of it, like Whitewater, was a bunch of nonsense. And although I think he's a predator for getting you had the most powerful man in the world and an intern who was half his age, less than half his age.
And purged himself before the U.S. Congress.
Right, I think he's an awful person, right? And I think he got a pass where conservatives would not have gotten a pass for that kind of sexually predatory behavior. Which is sad because I was well ensconced in the Democrat camp back then, and I was happy with the way he stewarded America, but I'm just not a fan of these sexual monsters.
I'm against the weaponization of politicians using the criminal justice system as a weapon to punish their enemies.
Well, I think what Alcatraz would be a place to put his enemies basically on display, right? Like
now, would you just say it?
What now?
Because if Miss Bondi is looking to bring charges,
right?
I can see President Trump proudly saying, "Well, we got space at Alcatraz."
Right. No, that's exactly what I think he's going to do, and I think it's all a bit silly, and I think we have far more significant problems. And I want the government spending less money, not more.
But he's lending the appearance of becoming a dictator.
No, not at all.
People are accusing him of these things,
of course, people have
and he's lending the appearance.
Stuff.
When you talk reckless like that and doing some of the things that he's doing,
reckless?
When you talk about shipping inmates to foreign countries and pay foreign countries to house American prisoners, that's madness, man. When you talk about getting rid of birthright citizenship, that's not talking like a dictator.
I don't think it does. A dictator would not have sat for office.
You talking about bending the U.S. Constitution?
I know you're going through a lot. I wonder if you know that we can get help. Let's see how far we can go. Love, your mind.
Hey, it's your girl, Carolina Sanchez, and The Nightcap is the late-night show where no topic is off limits. Join me as we dive into the wild world of relationships, sex, and everything in between. From hilarious dating disasters to steamy secrets, we've got it all. We've got celebrity guests, expert advice, and a cocktail in hand. The Nightcap is your guilty pleasure. So grab your drink and tune in because the best stories start after dark.
The Nightcap. New episodes weeknights at 11 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
Well, on Fox Face-Off, we tell the raw, unadulterated truth.
Fox Soul Face-Off.
We are given the platform here with no fear.
Always comes out swinging.
We should be saying, hey, stop shooting and killing people.
Nothing held back.
They wanted black hip-hop moguls and artists to continue the feud.
No punches pulled.
And neighbors,
you interrupt me all the time.
Tune into the show where opinions collide. Fox Soul Face-Off. New episodes weeknights at 9 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
Hey, besties!
What is a bestie?
I like you.
She's fun.
It's about to be a good time!
She's always looking out for you.
Since you're my bestie, I will handle it for you.
She makes you think.
Here to uplift and empower.
She's always encouraging.
You are that girl.
Chelsea Edwards, your bestie in daytime.
I get the spiritual moments.
Chatting with Chelsea. New episodes weekdays at 5:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
I know you're going through a lot. I wonder if you know that we can get help. Let's see how far we can go. Love, your mind.
That's it for the Face-Off on Fox Soul. We'll catch you next time.
I wonder if you know that I want the best for you. But how long will you fight solo? I wonder if you know that we can get help. Not wondering anymore. Love, your mind.
Well, on Fox Face-Off, we tell the raw, unadulterated truth.
Fox Soul Face-Off.
We are given the platform here with no fear.
Always comes out swinging.
We should be saying, hey, stop shooting and killing people.
Nothing held back.
They wanted black hip-hop moguls and artists to continue the feud.
No punches pulled.
And neighbors,
you interrupt me all the time.
Tune into the show where opinions collide. Fox Soul Face-Off. New episodes weeknights at 9 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
As we work to get through these times together, you may not be thinking about blood donation, but blood is needed to save the lives of people who are sick with a range of illnesses. It's easy and safe to give. If you are in good health, please donate. We need heroes now. Visit redcrossblood.org to schedule an appointment.
Hey, it's your girl, Carolina Sanchez, and The Nightcap is the late-night show where no topic is off limits. Join me as we dive into the wild world of relationships, sex, and everything in between. From hilarious dating disasters to steamy secrets, you know we've got it all. We've got celebrity guests, expert advice, and a cocktail in hand. The Nightcap is your guilty pleasure. So grab your drink and tune in because the best stories start after dark.
The Nightcap. New episodes weeknights at 11 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
I'm Isaiah Carey, here to shake things up with the stories that hit hard and matter most. Here on The Factor, we cover news with grit and authenticity. We challenge the status quo and get down to real talk and bold discussions. Join us as we amplify the voices that disrupt, inspire, and lead the charge for change. Your story is power, and we're here to unleash it.
The Isaiah Factor Uncensored. New episodes weeknights at 10 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
I was a quarterback at Artoway High School. College first-round draft pick during the football season, I would stop eating. But I didn't know I was depressed. We didn't have any education behind what mental health was. I started to learn it starts here first. If this is together, I'll be better as a father and as a husband. We have to redefine what being a strong man is and heal, love your mind.
Hey, besties!
What is a bestie?
I like you.
She's fun.
It's about to be a good time.
She's always looking out for you.
Since you're my bestie, I will handle it for you.
She makes you think.
Here to uplift and empower.
She's always encouraging.
You are that girl.
Chelsea Edwards, your bestie in daytime.
I get the spiritual moments.
Chatting with Chelsea. New episodes weekdays at 5:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
It's time for today's face-off on Fox Soul. Challengers Quan LX and Big Angry Adams ready to go blow by blow on those hot topics. Face-off on Fox Soul starts right now.
Man decided to post about fantasizing of shooting a black child, a black girl in particular, who rang his doorbell. All right, put it up full mass. Tyler Chambers, a Florida man's disturbing Facebook post has sparked widespread outrage online after he shared an image from a doorbell camera of a little black girl and fantasized about shooting her. Chambers is coming under fire after posting a picture of a young black girl who visited his home in the Tampa suburb of Riverview and captioned it, quote, "You're lucky we weren't home to shoot your dumb B word." He said your instead of you, yeah. Chambers shared the post in a community group and it was screenshot and reshared all over social media, quickly drawing backlash. Not only did people express shock and disgust that Chambers aimed violent threats at a child, but they also pointed to the racist overtones in his language.
In this round, here's Quan LX.
Charles, we just watched an episode where it was breaking down the case in Florida of a gentleman named Tyler Chambers, and I shouldn't call him gentleman, I'll say pathetic human being, where a young black child, a young black female, went to his door, and it has not really been made clear, I believe, why she was there. Some say for one reason, some say for another, but she was not committing a crime. She was not attempting to break into his home, anything like that. And so he subsequently posted in a community chat that she is lucky that you're lucky we were not home to shoot you. Shoot your ASS dumb B. This is not shocking to me. We're hearing things and stories like this over and over and over via social media. And I believe he's receiving backlash from all across the country, from all walks of life, all races. Because even the most strict conservative Republican, I believe, would condemn this man. Talking about you're lucky we're not home. Dumb A. This is sickening, man. It's beyond sickening. We just watched a story of a woman in Minnesota who called an autistic child the N-word over and over again and was rewarded for doing so with $600,000. Now we see this story like this. This is sick, and it makes me worry, where's this country headed to? Where are we going with this?
Well, so, I mean, what do you mean? What does it make you worry about? I mean,
it's
a horrible incident.
It makes me worry about this. When a woman raised $600,000 for using the N-word over and over like that, when you see that this man used the chat about, "You lucky we're not home to shoot you dumb B," you would think his neighbors would have collectively sent a loud outcry that this man doesn't speak for this community, that this man we wish he didn't live among us. His neighbors really, in that group chat, should have been the first to send the loudest message of condemnation to this man who's their neighbor.
Well, I mean, if you read some of the articles, apparently they did. So, I mean, how does that edify?
They should have.
He deleted it. He deleted all his presence. So when you neighbors, it makes you worried about America. You talk about these two incidents where white people have said some very ugly things, right? But do you think this speaks largely to white people generally?
I think it speaks largely to the climate in this country.
Okay.
And I think when you have situations like the white girl in Minnesota using the N-word like that and raising over $500,000, it does send a loud and clear message to us in this country. We're nowhere near we thought we were in 2025 in America.
Okay.
And when you see this man, if he lived in a community of God-fearing people, he should be afraid to go home, because they should put yard signs up in their yards. That a-hole ain't welcome here. That a-hole need to move. That a-hole should sell his house. That's exactly what they should be doing.
Okay. But do you think this speaks to all of America or to white America?
I think it speaks really to right now, to be honest with you, it speaks to the state of this country, Charles, and it speaks to a segment of white America that's growing in this country. It's growing. When you look at these white ring militia movements and groups that are absolutely racist in their language, their ideology, they're growing in rapid pace in this country, and even the Justice Department has admitted to that. America is at a tipping point, and these things flourish when good people don't stand up and speak out against it.
You see, and I you're tiptoeing around it uniquely, but I mean, clearly that's what you were saying by representing the Shiloh Hendricks incident and then this together as this unit of evil whiteness. But you don't ever sound like this. Like, you know, we have the guy that snatched the 4-year-old from his mother and threw him off the railing at the Mall of America. We have the African-American man that executed the white baby. In
Was
the
he yelling racial slurs?
I know.
Were they yelling racial slurs?
Always absolutely assume.
And did they target them solely because they were white?
Well, we don't know. Because
see, so you're assuming and making an assumption
I'm not
that's not clear in the
anything.
facts.
Hold on. What you do is every time a white person does something horrible, and this is horrible, he used ugly, horrible
and
words.
Racist with nature,
and
both acts had racial overtones, filthy racial language attached to them, Charles.
I was reading an
you
article
brought up
this
two
morning.
cases where race wasn't even brought up as an issue.
Thing. Like I was looking at the numbers for 2023 on mass shooting. There was like 40 white men and like 300 black male mass shooters, or 268. And you always talk about it's the white guys that
and
do
who were these black men shooting?
Hold on.
And where these mass shootings took place?
Well, I don't think the victim
in the hood somewhere, right?
Well, that's just as horrible.
Because they ain't shooting white folks like that. They ain't going to white neighborhoods shooting white folks like that.
Well, white people almost never commit crimes against black people. In fact, the group of criminals, and I don't think it speaks to black people generally, but I think it speaks to black violent criminals, are the
not white violent criminals.
Hold on, are the one people that are overwhelmingly more likely to attack people of other races. Most violent criminals are racially homogenous, right? In fact, Asians almost completely, right? But the one subcategory, the one demographic is black criminals, right? And I think that if a white person talks about black people holistically and blames all black people for the evil acts of one black person or a handful of black people, I think that's racism. I equally think it is racism when you take a horrible incident like this, right, that I will agree was clearly racially motivated, right? Because how can you look at a 7-year-old girl selling candy? There's not conflicting stories. That was the story from the parents, that my kids go around and sell candy door to door, which in any nice neighborhood is something kids do. Now, my kids, when they had to sell crap, I would just buy out. I just buy out. However we got to buy.
Because I didn't feel safe for them going door to door like that.
Because I mean, in my neighborhood back then, down in Friendswood, just like your neighborhood up in the suburb that you're in, very safe. But I just don't like imposing on my neighbors to buy crap my kids are selling, right? But I mean, we would deal with it all the time, and my wife would frequently buy whatever was brought to the door, right? And I think the normal reaction is either don't answer the door, or go out there and either politely say no or buy some stuff, right? And those are the only 3 possible outcomes. Saying, because his story, which he's now deleted, was that she was probably casing the house for a robber. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. This guy's clearly a bigot, but what I don't like is
you don't think his neighbors should have the loudest voice against this man?
Okay, I don't think anyone has an obligation to say anything. But
because he put that comment in a group chat.
Right.
In a group chat.
And then he deleted it because he had such a visceral negative reaction from his neighbors. I think you're trying to condemn his neighbors, With
No,
the
I'm not. No,
implication-
I'm not.
I think you are.
What I'm doing, I'm calling the neighbors out to do more.
What else?
I'm
What, do you
calling
want
the
them
neighbors
to
out
burn
to
something
I
in
didn't
the
say
yard?
that. But no, they can do a lot more than that.
Okay.
And that's
Well,
what they
could
should do.
What could they
Because
do?
let me say this. If he ain't making the property value go down, who else is? Because this man now has made that neighborhood a neighborhood known by the whole country. And I'm sure if he ain't making the property value go down, as they always accuse the Negroes moving the neighborhood, we make the property value go down. Well, then, hell, they should deal with this man as he is causing them to lose the value in their properties in that community. This man is sick.
Well, the sad
and he's dangerous, too.
The sad reality in America is that if his negative racist nonsense causes less African Americans to move into that neighborhood,
property value go up.
Probably helping property. And although economists don't like to talk about it, the one metric, right, for property value, for the rate of criminality in America, it's all tied beyond even socioeconomics. If the one factor you look at, whether or not your area you live in is going to be safe, a horrible reality that no one wants to talk about is the number of African Americans in that community, which doesn't speak to African Americans, but there is a problem, right? And I think that people that still take those data, take those numbers, and negatively talk about black people generally, I think they're still racist, right? I don't care what statistical. I think you don't look at someone's skin color to judge them as a human being. But what I hear from you across the table constantly is every time a white person does bad, it is all of a sudden writ large to all. You've done it a million times.
What
you
have
tiptoed
done,
around it today.
What you have done,
but
no.
you clearly were
what
trying
you,
to.
I'm
worried about America.
America
is not the 60s.
You're all in the Kool-Aid and you don't know the flavor.
Okay, I don't know.
But I will say
my
this.
flavor of Kool-Aid is
one thing you cannot deny. One thing you cannot deny. The surge in membership in these white nationalist groups cannot be denied.
No, there's not.
What we cannot deny is Donald Trump's
the
attack on African American history, attacking the African American Museum in D.C., threatening to no longer fund it if certain history is not removed and pulled down from it. Look, man, let me tell you something. This country is more than just half divided now. When you look at the tariffs and the financial struggles, when you look at all of these major Fortune companies laying people off, think about it. You got all this polarization taking place, people losing their jobs, people worried about losing their jobs. Crime is overwhelming in certain parts of this nation. This nation is unraveling at its seams, brother. And every race in America is going to suffer if we don't get a grip on the madness, the confusion, and the direction of this nation.
I do think the people that are demanding racial segregation, I think the people in the West that are like in the United Kingdom that are demanding separating education by gender.
It's coming.
Because of, the ones doing a lot of the demanded segregation, like in the West and in Western Europe and UK, is Islamists.
Charles, we in a country that just allowed boys to play in girls' sports last year.
But that's just
so you can't say we're not heading in the same direction.
With that,
we head in the same direction.
But the thing, the new division in America, the only as a white person, you're not allowed to have any sort of racial pride or anything that's all seen.
So what's white? So tell me what's white pride?
Let me finish this.
What's white pride? What's white pride?
Allegedly, it's evil, right?
No, you tell me what's white pride.
Hold on. I think
since you want to have it, what's white pride?
No, I think you can be proud of an ethnic heritage, right? You can be proud of being.
So what are you
Irish
proud of? Tell
Scotland.
me. But what are you proud of?
Whatever. Well, let's see. If you look at, I'm not European.
I speak straight words. As a white man, what's your white pride? Tell me.
Well, I'm not saying it as a white man. I'm saying it as.
But you just said white folks they have racial pride.
You're talking about the creation of democracy, the creation of liberty, the creation of institutions.
Democracy for who?
The ending of slavery that existed for thousands of years and
when
still
we came
exists
to America,
in Africa and the
democracy
Middle East.
didn't include us.
But
white women didn't have democracy in America until just a few decades ago.
There's no religious freedom in any Islamic country in this planet.
Charles,
right?
when black folks first came to America, we didn't have no religious freedom.
But white people are allowed to.
When black churches were burned and bombed, we had no religious freedom.
So you don't think it's
what's
fair?
white pride? Tell me, what's white pride?
But here's the thing. I don't
You said white racial pride. Tell me what's the pride?
White people aren't allowed to have it. Whereas
so
black
what
supremacy,
pride should a white man have?
Black
Creation of democracy.
Black supremacy is
Black
something
supremacy?
that is widely successful.
Black supremacy is ignorance.
What we have watched, well,
Black
you
supremacy
preach it all the
is
time.
ignorance.
You're flipping a switch.
No, you're wrong.
But here's the thing.
I teach I teach the knowledge of self to black people, not black supremacy.
So this week, we talked about Rodney Hinton early in the week. If you go on to Facebook right now, there's post after post after post of Rodney Hinton killed the cop that killed his son, just lies and talk about how evil white people are everywhere and this black greatness of black. When you meet black people, it's all brother and sister. You don't share the same with white people.
Why would you say that? That's not true.
I have an American
That's
pride.
not true.
I don't have a racial pride.
You know why we say black brother, black
ethnic,
sister?
I have an ethnic.
You know why we say black brother, black sister?
Because you're a racist.
No, because you white folks taught us when we met each other to say the N-word to one another.
No,
and
wait,
so to remove the N-word, we said brother. To remove the N-word, we said sister.
So
yes, white folks taught black people to address each other with the N-word. And so we replaced the N-word with brother and sister. We took lemons and made lemonade because white folk gave us that.
No matter how you play around it, it always comes down to your hatred for white people.
Oh, that's wrong. You're wrong.
And you blame
You
all
can't hate
of
the skin
white
color.
people. Well, you do.
can't hate the skin color.
I would agree, but
I hate
you
a mindset.
Okay, so
I hate a mindset.
You hate the white mindset.
I hate a mindset.
And all white people should be to blame.
I hate a mindset that makes.
I'm Isaiah Carey, here to shake things up with the stories that hit hard and matter most. Here on The Factor, we cover news with grit and authenticity. We challenge the status quo and get down to real talk and bold discussions. Join us as we amplify the voices that disrupt, inspire, and lead the charge for change. Your story is power, and we're here to unleash it.
The Isaiah Factor Uncensored. New episodes weeknights at 10 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
Hey, besties! What is a bestie?
I like you.
She's fun.
It's about to be a good time.
She's always looking out for you.
Since you're my bestie, I will handle it for you.
She makes you think.
Here to uplift and empower.
She's always encouraging.
You are that girl.
Chelsea Edwards, your bestie in daytime.
I get the spiritual moments.
Chatting with Chelsea. New episodes weekdays at 5:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin? Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Greg, come on, man, let's put a ride home.
I wonder if you know that I want the best for you. But how long will you fight solo? I wonder if you know that we can get help. Not wondering anymore. Love, your mind.
James Park, this is one of the regular locations where homeless services are delivered by volunteer groups to the unhoused community. But today, Mayor Mahan said this city has made great progress in its outreach efforts, things like safe parking lots and temporary housing, and he believes the unhoused residents should be taking advantage of that. It is a familiar sight in San Jose and all around the Bay Area, tents next to railroad tracks, highways, and homes. In San Jose, Mayor Matt Mahan says city data shows about 1 in 3 unhoused residents who are offered shelter refuse the help. And the mayor says that has to stop.
Homelessness can't be a choice, especially when over 200 people die on our streets each year.
Mayor Mahan is calling his proposal responsibility to shelter, which could result in citations for trespassing or even arrest and jail time for refusing shelter.
I'm proposing that after 3 offers of shelter, we hold people accountable for turning their lives around. because we all have a responsibility to end this crisis.
But Jody Botkin, who was on the streets for 10 years and just moved into the city's Monterey Branham interim housing complex, does not support the mayor's approach.
What motivated me was just shelter, you know. But honestly, I think it's wrong what he's doing. I don't think he should be doing that. He needs to think of the consequences also with, you know, jailing people. Because with jailing people means they're going to lose everything. They're going to lose what they have left, you know, inside the camps, which means there's going to be more stores robbed. There's going to be more people in the neighborhoods robbed. That's not cool.
Nearby.
In this round, here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
There's always people that can conjure an excuse as to why our government shouldn't serve the people that support it and participate in society. I couldn't applaud Matt Mahan or Mayor Mahan more. I think it is long overdue. I think if you go to San Jose, you see camps everywhere. In the apex of this in Los Angeles, they had camps set up right in front of people's houses, entire sidewalks. If you look at his whole statement, he was talking about how it closed down so many small businesses. You've seen this in San Francisco. It's still taking over Oakland. You see it all over the West Coast. You see it here in Houston. And there is, you know, mostly left-controlled, Democrat-controlled cities basically just told tax-paying citizens, working class people, that they just had to deal with people defecating in front of their houses, rampant unchecked crime, and no effort, while simultaneously, especially in California, billions of dollars were being spent to provide housing that people were refusing to avail themselves of. Why? Because, one, there was a whole grift machine that's still going on. A lot of this money just evaporated and they're just handing it out to cronies and there's no metrics. But two, there's a great number of I hate how our language evolves, the unhoused. There's a great number of homeless people that live a lifestyle of drugs and abuse and crime that they are choosing to do. Now, there are some people that are organically mentally ill, and you know we need to do more to forcibly place them in hospitals to get them well. Then there's all these other mentally ill people that are just mentally ill downstream from eating meth for years and years and years that I think they've probably brought on themselves. But at some point, we have to return to having parks that are made for children to play in, not for junkies to shoot up in, sidewalks that are safe enough for a citizen in a wheelchair to roll down to get into a destination, businesses that don't have to clean up feces and urine off their front steps every morning because people are just being allowed to do whatever they want, while cops who are making an unbelievable amount of money. If you look at law enforcement salaries, there are cops, regular beat cops, making $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 a year with their overtime in the Bay Area in San Francisco. It's unbelievable, right? And they do it while they're keeping their windows up and ignoring everything, and crime. You know, we have, like our DA here in Harris County talked about, you know, I'm not going to prosecute nuisance crimes like criminal trespass. No, people breaking into stuff and staying, it's all crazy, right? So I have big applause for Matt.
But that's breaking an entry. Trespass.
That's criminal trespass.
But trespass is not breaking an entry.
Well, that's what cops like to call it nowadays.
Really leaving
lazy
when you've been
HPD
asked
officers.
to leave. I would say this to you, Charles. I disagree with the mayor in San Jose on two things.
Okay.
Writing the homeless citations, they're not going to pay for those citations.
Well,
where does the money come from? Okay, so think about it. They get the citation, they don't pay it, they get a warrant for their arrest at some point.
Good.
All right, now you're going to put them in jail.
Yeah.
Look at Houston, Texas, Harris County. The largest mental health facility in the state of Texas is the Harris County jail.
Right, because everyone's crazy and not responsible for their
Charles,
crimes anymore. I'm crazy, I can't help it.
If all we're going to do is just lock up the homeless, when most of these men and women, a lot of them have drug problems, like you said, I agree, have severe alcohol problems. Some of them have real mental health issues. So Charles, why don't we take that those billions that California was wasting, funneling that money through liaisons and quote unquote organizations that really house that money for themselves, and administrative costs barely get to the people who need it. Why don't we come up with something to really address the mental health problem in this country that's causing homelessness? Why don't we come up with some real strong alternatives that may be a little difficult for all of us, but it's what's needed to address the alcohol drug addiction problem in the homeless community. If we're just going to pick up homeless folks and put them in jail, when they get out, where are they going?
But see, that's not what they're
Back
doing.
to the streets.
No, but here's the thing. That's not all they're doing. There's tons of housing available to the homeless in San Jose. They're refusing it.
But if
they're
they
not
got
going to
mental
take them
health
straight
problems,
to jail. They're going to give you
but
chance
if they got mental health
after
problems,
chance
they don't want to. But
and then if you
why
don't take
give
it,
a person,
you get a ticket. If you
Charles,
don't pay it, you
want to give a mental health person housing, but you don't want to address the mental health issues?
I'd love to see them forced into
It's just
an
not
institution.
gonna work, Charles.
I would love to see lockdown institutionalization of the crazy people
before
that
you
are
give them
terrorizing
housing,
the
give
community.
them therapy.
Oh,
Give them
it's
therapy
not
before you give them
therapy.
housing.
It's about consequences, and they need consequences.
But Charles, not jail. Well, on Fox Face Off, we tell the raw, unadulterated truth.
Fox Soul Face Off.
We are given the platform here with no fear.
Always comes out swinging.
We should be saying, hey, stop shooting and killing people.
Nothing held back.
They wanted black hip-hop moguls and artists to continue the feud.
No punches pulled.
And
Shut the
neighborhoods
hell up.
You
and
interrupt
let
me all the
speak to my
time.
people.
Tune into the show where opinions collide. Fox Soul Face Off. New episodes weeknights at 9 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
I wonder if you know that I want the best for you. But how long will you fight solo? I wonder if you know that we can get help. Not wondering anymore. Love, your mind.
Hey, it's your girl, Carolina Sanchez, and The Nightcap is the late night show where no topic is off limits. Join me as we dive into the wild world of relationships, sex, and everything in between. From hilarious dating disasters to steamy secrets, you know we've got it all. We've got celebrity guests, expert advice, and a cocktail in hand. The Nightcap is your guilty pleasure. So grab your drink and tune in because the best stories start after dark.
The Nightcap. New episodes weeknights at 11 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
As we work to get through these times together, you may not be thinking about blood donation, but blood is needed to save the lives of people who are sick with a range of illnesses. It's easy and safe to give. If you are in good health, please donate. We need heroes now. Visit redcrossblood.org to schedule an appointment.
That's it for the Face Off on Fox Soul. We'll catch you next time.
Hey, besties!
What is a bestie?
I like you.
She's fun.
It's about to be a good time!
She's always looking out for you.
Since you're my bestie, I will handle it for you.
She makes you think.
Here to uplift and empower.
She's always encouraging.
You are that girl.
Chelsea Edwards, your bestie in daytime.
Like it's a spiritual moment.
Chatting with Chelsea. New episodes weekdays at 5:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin? Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text to emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Greg, come on man, let's put a ride home.
As we work to get through these times together, you may not be thinking about blood donation, but blood is needed to save the lives of people who are sick with a range of illnesses. It's easy and safe to give. If you are in good health, please donate. We need heroes now. Visit redcrossblood.org to schedule an appointment.
I'm Isaiah Carey, here to shake things up with the stories that hit hard and matter most. Here on The Factor, we cover news with grit and authenticity. We challenge the status quo and get down to real talk and bold discussions. Join us as we amplify the voices that disrupt, inspire, and lead the charge for change. Your story is power, and we're here to unleash it.
The Isaiah Factor Uncensored. New episodes weeknights at 10 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
Hey, it's your girl, Carolina Sanchez, and The Nightcap is the late night show where no topic is off limits. Join me as we dive into the wild world of relationships, sex, and everything in between. From hilarious dating disasters to steamy secrets, you know we've got it all. We've got celebrity guests, expert advice, and a cocktail in hand. The Nightcap is your guilty pleasure. So grab your drink and tune in because the best stories start after dark.
The Nightcap. New episodes weeknights at 11 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
I was a quarterback at Hardaway High School. College first round draft pick. During the football season, I would stop eating. But I didn't know I was depressed. We didn't have any education behind what mental health was. I started to learn it starts here first. If this is together, I'll be better as a father and as a husband. We have to redefine what being a strong man is and heal, love your mind.
Well, on Fox Face-Off, we tell the raw, unadulterated truth.
Fox Soul Face-Off.
We are given the platform here with no fear.
Always comes out swinging.
We should be saying, hey, stop shooting and killing people.
Nothing held back.
They wanted black hip-hop moguls and artists to continue the feud.
No punches pulled.
And shut the hell up.
You interrupt me all the time.
Tune into the show where opinions collide. Fox Soul Face-Off. New episodes weeknights at 9 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
I wonder if you know that I want the best for you. But how long will you fight solo? I wonder if you know that we can get help. Not wondering anymore. Love, your mind.
Tonight on The Factor Uncensored, we're highlighting multiple issues related to mental health. It's part of a special edition of Angela After Dark. Plus, India and Pakistan are bracing for a possible war over control of a disputed territory. We'll bring you reaction tonight here on The Factor.
The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts right now.
Welcome and thank you for joining us on The Factor Uncensored tonight. We're starting off with a very special edition of Angela After Dark as we embrace Mental Health Awareness Month. We're diving into multiple issues, including the darkness where many end up as a result of that pressure weighing on them, and it leads to suicide. Also,